your spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy, gentle, easy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you all. Normally, I write what I'm going to say, but today I am winging it. And I would like for us to take a breath of oneness with each other and ourselves, understanding that as we breathe out, we share the breath of God with everyone. Normally I do a reflection, and today is no different. I don't want to reflect on birth and death. I want to reflect on life. I want all of us to know that as we walk our journey through life, that God walks with us. I really take that statement, wherever I am, God is, very, very seriously. And what a comforting thought it is. I am so thankful that I have this opportunity to share my heart with all of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to do so. So I ask you, in thankfulness and in gratitude, help me anchor this by saying, and so it is.
I wish I could wing it like that. Took me years as a practitioner to be able to do what she just did. So honoring all paths today, I'm very excited that we have a beloved member of our congregation whose presence always lights the room up. Please welcome Practitioner Ken as our candlelighter this morning. So we're an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. And so we're going to begin that ceremony that celebrates the oneness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths come from the one universal presence, which we call spirit. So let us begin. You ready? The Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of pristine spirituality. Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. Of course, our favorite, New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And of course, the last candle is our healing candle of love. And we invite you, in the stillness of your own mind, to bring to awareness the names of anyone you wish to be included in this healing flame of love and of light. And now that our flames of faith are fully lighted, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. Thank you, Ken. And Ken has a way with words, so if you ever want a prayer that'll peel the paint off the walls, he's the guy to call. Our inspirational quote today comes from Ernest Holmes from a book called Help for Today that he actually wrote in 1958. It's a little frightening how it's still so fresh and new. Spirit, which is the creative life principle, is forever flowing through us. But man has been given the freedom to impede or stop its progress in himself. We know that we can tie a cord tightly around our arm and so inhibit the circulation of blood, and that congestion, stagnation, and infection will follow. In like manner, through our thinking processes, our ideas and convictions, we use the tourniquets of negative thoughts and block the flow of creative life through us. I hope your sermon's going to give us the other side of that coin, my friend. And back to music.
God's mind is working in my mind. I see the light shining through. Divine ideas of all kinds. I know just what to do. Mine is a gate I can create. Life heavenly. All of my thoughts are working with God's pure energy. God's mind is working in my mind. I see the light shining through. Divine ideas of all kinds. I know just what to do. God life in me flows full and free. I am alive. Energy flows, my body glows. I am revived. God's mind is working in my mind. I see the light shining through. Divine ideas of all kinds. I know just what to do. Now is the time, me to unwind all thoughts of lack. I now give thanks for all of the ways I can give back. God's mind is working in my mind. I see the light shining through. Divine ideas of all kinds. I know just what to do. God's mind is working in my mind. God's mind is working in my mind. God's mind is working in my mind.
You know, whether 10 people show up for the choir or 2, the music is always speaks directly to us. So thank you for being the 2 that showed up today, and Aaron leading the charge. The first thing we like to do is welcome anybody who is new to our center, and it seems like I'm sitting among friends here today, but I just wanted to say to anybody who might be tuning in online that if you're new to us, then go to our website, give us a call, send us an email, and we'd be happy to get a welcome packet to you. And I just want to make sure nobody's new, right? Okay. So we're really, 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 really big on
Prayer.
Thank you, Karen.
Prayer. It's prayer. Joy.
And prayer is a promise, right? Prayer is a promise like the sun coming up every day. Prayer is that promise that we're never alone, even in our darkest of days. Prayer is a promise, and even if you are the person who's praying or the person who's being prayed for, you're lighting the fuse of divine action happening. And really, seriously, who doesn't want to be the fuse? Right? I'd rather be the fuse than the bomb. So we have 3 ways here at the center for prayer. The first is a 1-minute miracle. You can tap any of the practitioners on the shoulder for a 1-minute miracle. And we've got Karen today. We've got Judy and Robert in the back. We've got Bob. Bob, don't you like saying that? Bob. I know, Ken, your license is lapsed, but as I said, he's one heck of a prayer. We've got Ann Fleming here. Who am I missing? Myself,
Rev Dawn and yourself.
Oh, Rev Dawn. That guy. We would love to spend a minute to pray with you. We also, for those of you who are, maybe dining and dashing today, we have the written prayer request. So you can write it down on a piece of paper and put it in a box, and we will pray for that all week long. And then last but not least, especially for those online, go to our website. Our phone number is there, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's amazing how fast the email actually makes it across the country. So please utilize this space and this energy of everyone who likes being a fuse for divine right action. So there's several announcements today, so bear with me. We announced this for the first time last week. We've all been graciously given a pile of money by the state of Alaska to do with whatever we so choose. And of course, as soon as you get that pile of money, a storm hit, right? And some of our precious villages got wiped out. And so we usually do something each year to kind of encourage everybody to give a little bit more. This is a good month for us. But we wanted to also extend that goodwill to those villages. Reverend Dawn has identified the Alaska Community Foundation, Western Alaska Disaster Recovery Fund. So if you want to throw some extra money in the pot, we're going to put PFD on your check or on the envelope, and we're going to make sure that 10% of all that extra gets to go to help out those who kind of got a check but then suddenly didn't have a home. So let's do our part. We're Alaskan. We can do this. And we're going to keep this going through Thanksgiving. Did anybody get an email about the engagement survey? Yep. I got it. Okay, so at least once a year we try to do this. We send out an email to say who are you and what is it that you want. This is our center. It's my center, and it's Mary's center, and it's Aaron's center, but we don't know what you guys want. We're not mind readers, and this is your chance. They're going to send it out by mail also, is my understanding. So if you're an email person, it's going to take less than 10 minutes. Go give us your thoughts. If you're a mail person, we're going to get mail this week. Isn't that exciting? Wow. I love opening the thing and having something besides a Sadler's recliner ad. So let's go ahead and respond. We have this unique opportunity coming off of this 2-year hiatus to kind of redefine who we are, or get to stay who we have been, which is also really cool. Next Sunday, oh my God, Judy and I are now off the hook. We do not have to act like children anymore. We're actually inviting the children to come back into the center starting next Sunday. Isn't that amazing? I think that's great. Of course. So youth services are starting next Sunday, 11 o'clock. If you've got questions, ask Ann Fleming, who's heading up the charge to make this happen. Anybody from the age 3 all the way up to a teenager, please grab your neighbors, grab your kids, grab your grandkids, because we are opening up that magic room again to that life and that laughter and that love that just so easily flows when you're younger. And guess what? I didn't have any idea we were doing this. But, Halloween is coming. Oh my God, what a great thing. Halloween. Nobody ever comes to my house. So this is kind of fun to come here and get to see the kids. And Reverend Don and Ann Fleming usually dress up. No pressure. None at all. But just saying, Ann Fleming's been known to dress up to the point that nobody knew who she was. So on Sunday, October 30th, we are going to kick off a Halloween chili buffet. And so in order for us to have a chili buffet, that means that you all get to bring chili or other things, if you were me. Salad, cornbread, side dishes, desserts. And this is kind of fun. We're actually going to do a Halloween bingo game. I think the prize is you get to take Reverend Don home for a day. So, who doesn't want that? So yeah. So we've got a lot of really good and fun and amazing things that are going to happen. So please stay tuned. Please participate. Please come back. Bring kids. And so now we're going to have a minister's moment. And so I'm going to welcome Reverend Don back to the stage. And then after he is done, we're going to go back to really special music. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I better step aside here. I'm going to get feedback. Some of you have noticed that Midnight is not here today. Midnight died last Thursday. Linda accompanied him to the edge of the Rainbow Bridge, and he crossed over. I know I will miss seeing the little guy around here. And I can only imagine how much Linda is going to miss her friend or companion, Midnight. We will all miss Midnight, none perhaps as much as Linda. But I think that there is something in that, a lesson for us all. Even though we will miss Midnight, he will mourn his loss, and we will feel the pain. He may no longer be with us physically, but he can never leave our memories and our hearts. Our association with our pets teaches us many things, not the least of which is unconditional love. If only I could love as well as my dogs. And so even though we lose our canine and feline friends, we are better for them. And so even though we suffer here now, we are also comforted by our awareness of the eternality, the continuity of the individual soul. And make no mistake, our pets have an eternal soul that continues on, and it continues on in our hearts. And so we just send Linda our love, our support. We need to send Midnight anything. He's already enjoying his time over the Rainbow Bridge. We love you. And so it is.
We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. Held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace.
Thank you, Karen and Mary. Aaron, great selection. Perfect timing for that song. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you for coming out today, for those of you who are here. And welcome to those of you who are watching live on Facebook Live or are joining us later on Facebook or on YouTube. Starting, I think it is next week, we're going to clip our YouTube presentation to the talk only. And there are a lot of reasons for that. So if you are one of the people who like the entire service, you can watch us on Facebook Live during the week as well. So you don't have to miss us. Our monthly theme has been finances. Oh, that's a juicy one. There was a time when ministers were taught to stay away from the three things you never talk about. You talk about politics, sex, or money. And I understand that. I really do. There's a lot of reason not to talk about some of those things. But I think that money is such an important part of what we do, and there is such a pervasive belief in a lot of things in our culture that restrict our ability to step into the flow of money. So the title of my talk today is Let It Flow. And there are two major points. One, God is infinite source, and the second is let it flow. I think many of you share with me, I don't know, I've talked about this many times, but for me personally, my experience something that touches my heart of the infinite is to lay down in the snow on a cold Alaska night, far, far away from any city or town, on a moonless night, and look up and see the expanse of the universe and see the Milky Way stretched across the middle of the sky. So I looked at the Milky Way. I looked a little bit about it. Let's look at the Milky Way. Our Milky Way is an average-sized galaxy. There are some that are much larger, some that are smaller. The Milky Way is kind of an average one. It has an approximately 300 billion stars. The Milky Way is estimated to be 100,000 light years in diameter. Think about that. It takes 8 minutes for light to travel from our sun to the earth. And this is 100,000 light years. That's really big. And of those 300 billion stars, 20% are like our sun. And I forget all the names. There's a red giant and a yellow dwarf and all of these different kinds of suns, but there are about 20% of them that are the same as our sun. So if we do the math on that, we come to the conclusion that there are about 60 billion stars just within the Milky Way that are like our sun. And it is estimated that most of those have solar systems. They've got planets orbiting around them that are likely in the Goldilocks zone. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it is right for life as we experience it here. That it has water. I mean, the universe is ripe for life as we know it. And that's just within our Milky Way. There are over 2 trillion galaxies. To me, this is staring the infinite in the face. And all of this speaks of abundance. If we are going to allow the infinite abundance, the wealth of the universe, to freely express through us, we must have a healthy understanding of this aspect of the nature of the divine. Wealth simply means abundant supply, and it is derived from weal, which is a sound, healthy, or prosperous state, at least according to Merriam-Webster. Now I'm going to ask a question. Consider this. Can we conceive of an infinite oneness that wants itself and its creation to live in poverty, restriction, and lack? Of course not. We don't wish those things for our creations. We don't wish those things for our children. Not that we are necessarily children of the Most High, but we certainly are a creation of a power in the universe that's greater than we are. And we don't wish those things on our creation. It makes no sense that this infinite creative power would wish poverty and restriction and lack. As this must be true of spirit, it must be universally true of all aspects of spirit. Wealth isn't things. The first wealth of spirit is ideas. Because ideas precede things. Ernest Holmes wrote, "It is right that we should be successful, for otherwise spirit is not expressed. The divine cannot lack for anything, and we should not lack for anything that makes life worthwhile here on earth. Thomas Troward observed that the universe creates by contemplating itself. In Science of Mind, we say that thoughts become things and that we become what we think about. The ancient philosopher Plotinus reminds us, I do not argue, I contemplate. And as I contemplate, I let fall the seeds of thought into the mirror of mind, which then becomes the mirror of matter. So if we have all of this universe, infinite, and we are here, what keeps us from experiencing and having all of the wealth of the universe at our disposal? Because we constrict it. Which leads to our second point, let it flow. Our experience of prosperity comes from within us, but we restrict the flow. Mary Morrissey, she does a lot of abundance and prosperity workshops. She's sort of the current queen of prosperity for Centers for Spiritual Living. I contemplated inviting her up. I contemplated putting on one of her programs, and I got all the books, I got everything all ready to do it, and something just said no. And we've never done it, and I don't know why. But she's really a great speaker. She's a great entertainer. And she tells a story about going to see a lecture by Raymond Charles Barker, who was a contemporary of Ernest Holmes. And once she went to one of his lectures, and he came out on stage impeccably dressed, perfectly coiffed. He had this full head of snow white hair. I'm so jealous. And he began his presentation. He reached into his suit coat pocket and he took out his wallet and he pulled out this wad of bills and he started fanning them out, and they're like all $100 bills. And he says, "This is money. I love money." And he starts kissing all these $100 bills. And she thought, ooh, how can this guy be spiritual? He's kissing money. Oh, well, I know where I went. My brain was going, ooh, there's germs. My mother said, that's not clean. Okay. And then Raymond said, if you had any thought of revulsion or repulsion or judgment about money, money heard you. Why would money go where it's not loved? Why would you not love the symbol of your freedom? Now imagine if I had a little boy here and I held him up and said, this is my grandson. I love my grandson. And I proceeded to kiss him. If you thought any differently about me loving money and me loving my grandson, then you were programmed that it's not okay to love money. Barker was awesome. It's just like what Linda had in the inspirational quote. Spirit, which is the creative life principle, is forever flowing through us, but man has been given the freedom to impede or to stop its progress in himself. And that's just what we do. Now, I cannot go through all of the restrictions that we use here today in this little time. I mean, that would take Mary Morrissey's 10-week workshop, and we're not going to get there today. But I do want to capture the idea that it's possible for us to go within and to look and see what are our restrictions around money. So I'm going to list just a few of the big ones. One of them is that our religion, our philosophy, our theology tells us that it's good to be poor. That our religious leaders were poor and we should be too. The great spiritual leaders were poor. In the birth story in Luke, Jesus was born in a manger. Not because Joseph was poor, it's because the inn was full. Later on in life, Jesus had a bookkeeper. Well, you don't have a bookkeeper if you don't have any money. The Buddha found the middle way. He went to the two extremes in his life. He was born into immense wealth, more than we can imagine. Immense wealth. And he rejected that and he went into asceticism. He went into extreme poverty, only eating 1 grain of rice a day. Well, that's a harsh diet. And he discovered that the best way was the middle way, not opulence to be thrown away, but certainly not living in poverty. And he embraced the middle way. Lao Tzu was a respected government official, not a poor monk. Looking at some of the prophets within the Abrahamic tradition, Abraham, Jacob, Joseph, and Moses were all well off. Another thing that we fall into, a big category, is that of debt and loss. We think that debt is automatically bad. You should never have debt. And while I think it's a good idea to avoid too much debt, we need to look. Debt is just a promise to pay. Our symbol of wealth and prosperity in the United States is the stock market. What do we look at? The Dow Jones averages. The stock market is just an exchange of debt. This is people with an idea that need capital. And it's people that have capital that are willing to take a risk and put that to work to give it to the guys with the idea. The stock market, our very symbol of prosperity, is based on debt and loss. Oh boy. There was a young lady who recently got scammed out of $5,000. She got together with a prayer partner. They prayed over it. And she realized that yes, this was money. It was gone. She wasn't going to get it back. But she opened herself up to a new way of receiving. She quickly landed a new job. And she found that in this new job, she would be able to earn the $5,000 back in a short period of time and have a new prosperous job going forward, doing something that she absolutely loved. Loss can be there to learn from. Another big category is shame and fitting in. Here's what I mean. Shame. I remember when I was little, my parents put me in a ski club. They used to drive us north of Golden, and we'd catch the ski train and go up in the mountains. And I was in a learn to ski program. I loved it. But I didn't have the newest, fanciest equipment. I didn't have the newest, fanciest, was when stretch fabrics first came out, clothing. And I always felt kind of ashamed that I didn't have the newest, fanciest stuff. And I said something one time to my mother, and she told me, "Don't you worry about that. Those people are deciding what they spend their money on are clothes for style and fashion. and that's their choice. We have decided to spend our money on something else. And I realized that in that it took away the shame of not having as much money as the little rich kids. And then the not fitting in. There was recently an article in the internet, and it was like a Dear Abby kind of a thing, and I forget what it's called, Slate. And the question was, I have considerably more money than my neighbors, and I'm afraid that they're going to find out because they won't accept me anymore as their friend. And this is an area where we can change our thinking and change our life. I think the single biggest area around restricting the flow of prosperity and money into our lives is in a lack of self-worth. There is an underlying, a tone beneath that I'm not worthy of being rich. I am a sinner. I am faulty. I don't deserve to be rich and experience the wealth of the universe. And it's tied in very closely with what I call the pie theory of abundance and prosperity. And that is, if I have more, somebody else is going to have less. So the more I get, that means more and more people are getting less. My slice gets bigger, their slices are being made smaller. And I'm here to submit, this thing is infinite. It isn't the pie that's the size. As your slice gets bigger, their slice can get bigger too. The pie gets bigger. And I really feel it's important for us to take a moment and step back and embrace our desire to be prosperous. Because in that, once we go within and we decide, wow, I do have a restriction around this, regardless of whether it's the pie theory, whether it's shame and blame, or whatever it may be, I have a restriction. We need to move through that by embracing our desire to be prosperous. The story of a Zen monk. A Zen monk was once told that in order to be enlightened, he had to eliminate all desire from his life. So he went off and he spent many years working to release all desires. 10 years later, he returns to his teacher and announced that he has succeeded. And the teacher nodded and smiled and asked, why did you do that? He came to the realization that he had a desire to be enlightened. So sadly, he goes off to release his desire to be enlightened, only to realize that he is still working in the field of desire. Eventually, he wakens to the realization that desire is the motivating energy of the universe, moving everything forward. And he releases his desire to release desire. It's late. Conclusion. What I want you to take away today. Money is a form of divine energy. We don't need to feel ashamed about our interaction with it, nor do we have to dumb down or fake that we're rich to create the healthy relationship with money. We need to let go of the old stories about the poverty of great spiritual teachers so that we are good if we are poor. We have to let go of clinging to debts and losses and attaching our identity to our money. We must recognize that we live with a constant flow of the divine quality of wealth in all of its many forms. It is not my wealth. We just get to play with it. As we bring the mindset of kind attention and curiosity to our relationship with money, it will, like any relationship, blossom. And so it is with this awareness of that infinite presence that is constantly expressing through and as us that I invite the practitioners to join me in holding our congregation here and online today and next week. And our city, our state, our nation, the entire world, in an awareness of the power and the presence of this infinite presence. The nature of that infinite creative force is love. And it is infinite love. It is unconditional love. It is what we learn from our pets. And as we go through this thing called life, we can open ourselves up to that love, to that power, that presence, and enjoy all of the prosperity and abundance of the universe. It is so wonderful to just step into that love, to step into that power, and enjoy all of the wealth of life. So we just give thanks. We give thanks for that awareness. We give thanks for all of the goodness in our lives. We give thanks for the shelter. We give thanks for the food. We give thanks for the comfort. We give thanks for the love. We give thanks for one another. And now we can just step back and let it go and let it be. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Namaste.
So this is a perfect song to like stand and get some energy flowing and stuff. So. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I have been blessed with a universe teeming with abundance. Oh, thank you, Earth. I stand in the midst of this abundance, using some and spreading all the rest. Hey, I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. Every morning I wake up so energized. Every night I go to bed so satisfied. Every single day my physical self shines forth with my joy for life. Hey, I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I feel rich, I feel strong, I feel confident. I know what to say and how to say it. I know what to do and how to do it. I am an active helper in my world, saying what I feel and spreading love.
My, you're right. That certainly gets the blood flowing, doesn't it? And I'll be singing all week. I feel rich. Now's a time in our service where we are afforded the opportunity to extend and step into this circulation that we have talked about the last few weeks.
Here I am again.
Yes. You're not going to do another sermon, are you? Okay.
Did I do one?
Boy, yeah, that was good.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, we got to
That's right.
do our
I
affirmation
got one
first.
of those.
Yeah.
I got one of those.
Good. All right. Here's our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
There you go.
Got it. Thank you.
My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. Oh Lord, my God, you are my strength. You carry me on your wings. You are in me, you know my heart, and my soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. Your constant blessings flow to me like a mighty river to my heart. You are my life, you set me free, and I will love you forever and ever and ever and ever, forever and ever and ever and ever. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you. My soul sings out to you, my love. My soul sings out to you.
So, in closing this morning, I would like to ask you, what kind of relationship do you have with money? And since we know that God is the source of everything, what kind of relationship do you have with God? When we think about money, do you judge it? If you're always asking, you're never here. And when you are here, you don't stick around long enough. You're not enough. I wouldn't want to stay in a relationship like that. So, when I think about it, I think the most important resource on our planet today is consciousness. And if we are in the consciousness that money is energy, and we know that energy has to flow, and that we are always at choice for what type of relationship we want to have with money, or with anything for that matter. So I simply ask you to remember that there is more than enough for everyone, and that you are a child of God. You are worthy of having everything that you want and everything that you need. So So I simply invite you to practice the consciousness of worthiness and realize that you are God. You already have everything that you need within you. So feel rich and confident because that is who you are. For our affirmation today, I love money and money loves me.
I love money and money loves me.
Thank you.
Shine your light, let your love be bold and bright, a flame that lights